Well, it's been a while since I have lost a bunch of subscribers because of something I said that they didn't like. So let's see about remedying that today. Well, after last week's video, I had said that my Friday videos was going to come whenever they came. It wasn't going to be a regular thing anymore. Made that announcement and everything. And so I didn't really plan on making a video today. As a matter of fact, it didn't come to me until yesterday, which is the day before this video comes out. I didn't plan on it. I'm just keeping it 100. But after this week, I knew that, I wanted to give a bit of encouragement to some of you out there and just give you a perspective on something and how it will affect the tabletop RPG space, or how it can affect the tabletop RPG space. So again, this is kind of coming off at the top of the mind here, even though I kind of know the points that I want to go through. So again, not a lot of edits, doing some jump cuts and all the rest of that. But again, my goal here is to help and encourage you. That's the goal. But I know that I'm going to offend some people because of what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. It's just the nature of being somebody who you know who you are. And when you know who you are in certain things and you have convictions about certain things, what happens is that you don't care about what other people think or any of that stuff or what they say and all that stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. And here we go. So this past week on Tuesday, November 5th, here in the United States, we had our presidential election. But it wasn't just our presidential election. It was an election of senators and congressmen. It was a major election cycle. And what happened was something that I knew was going to happen in the general sense, but I didn't know it was going to happen as major as it did. Like, the scale of it was much more than I imagined. But the scale of it said something, and the American people said something as a result. And it was a referendum and an indictment against not only the current administration, but the culture at large. People want things to change, and they are not down with everything else that has come before. And I believe that that stuff goes downstream into all of the subcultures that's here in the United States. And one of those places is tabletop RPGs. Now, how does that have anything to do with tabletop RPGs or even the tabletop RPG culture? Let me explain. I believe that, like I said, this is a referendum and an indictment. It was an indictment by saying that what you guys have done has been wrong. It has not been cool for the American people. And it was a referendum saying, we've had enough. We're done. Get something else that makes some sense. People came out and, with a vote, made their voices heard. Now, I think that this is something that needs to be done in the tabletop RPG space as well. And I think that something like that will come downstream. But I think that we need to do our part on the level where we're at, especially in the tabletop RPG space. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to stop giving companies money that push agendas, ideology, identity politics, and just denigrate and vilify customers who they disagree with, instead of just making a game. You can have whatever political view that you want. I'm not saying that you can't have that. This is the greatness of the United States. You can have that freedom. The problem is when you take that and you inculcate it and you create a culture that is hostile towards customers and their views if they happen to have a view that is different from yours. It's no longer a customer relationship that you have with them, a business customer relationship. Well, really now it's hostile, and you start, there's ad hominem attacks going all over the place because someone said something or believes something that you don't. And instead of just going, okay, well, I think you're wrong, and just moving on and not even having the discussion, to be honest, because again, this is a business customer relationship, or it's supposed to be. But what you do is you use the company to push. I'm not talking about just saying something off the cuff on X or something like that. No, what I'm talking about is that you use your company to push and create these hostile environments, these hostile ideologies, and denigrate and vilify the very people that keep you in business. I think that the time has come in the tabletop RPG space to do this same exact thing that happened in this past election. A referendum and an indictment needs to get done. The other thing that you can do is build something, create something. Don't just complain about what they do. I'll give you a space to go to at the end of this also, if I remember. But you can create something also. They create something, you create something. Some of you guys are trying your best to do something. You need to learn marketing. That's one thing, because that's probably the number one thing that I see besides the design and all the rest of this stuff. But I think that there needs to be more people creating and less people getting into Twitter wars and Reddit wars and all the rest of it. That's wasting your time. It's a waste of time. Let those people who want to do that stuff, let them do that. You go, you create. You go and go someplace else. Use your time productively. Stop doing that. Just stop doing that. And I think that by not giving them money, by creating your own products, and by saying just enough is enough, you do not need to do that. You need to stop being programmed, because that's what you are. Just recently, I kid you not, this was like last week, I went to my local gaming shop. We have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with the people there. I've had for like over 20, 30 years or something. I've known the guy that owns it, but the other guy who actually runs it for him, I got a good relationship with him. So I went there, I was talking with him and whatever, and he was talking about Paizo, which does Pathfinder, charging some exorbitant amount of money for some product or whatever. And I don't, you guys know I don't do fantasy on here, but he was saying that, and he was like, he didn't, couldn't believe it. It was crazy. And then he was talking to me about a customer that had come in and who played Pathfinder. And what happened was that they were just as appalled by these exorbitant prices for no good reason. And they were, complaining and stuff. But this is what they said. They said, "Oh, well, what can you do?" And my buddy over at the gaming shop, he goes, "They said that standing in front of a wall of tabletop RPGs." He goes, "What do you mean? What can you do? Play another game and just stop doing that." Now, see, the problem with these people is that they don't even understand that they're programmed. And then when you tell them that they're programmed, and they get upset that you told them the truth about themselves. And since they don't like the truth, it's very, very comfortable to believe a lie about myself, because it makes me just feel comfortable. So I'll just continue to go in that direction. Well, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It makes no sense. But stop complaining, because nobody wants to hear your whining after you just continue to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Ain't nobody going to be sympathetic towards that. You need to do something different. In order for things to change, men must change. So you have to change your actions in order for things to change. Well, nothing's going to change. It'll change for you. It might not change the industry or whatever, but I bet you if you get enough people just changing what they do, that stuff will sweep throughout the industry. And I think that's what needs to be done. So that's another thing. Stop being programmed and go get another game. I know what some people are saying. You know, you're more invested in things. You spend all this money. Why would it? Then just stop spending money on that stuff. Play an old game or play the older version of the game or whatever. But stop spending money on a current administration or business culture that can't stand you. That makes no sense. But if you don't want to do that, then don't complain. You have no right to complain whatsoever. You keep doing it. Now, here on this channel, I like giving alternatives, and that is what we're about. Alternative genre tabletop RPGs, classic tabletop RPGs, the RPG Elite philosophy, which is really alternative, and doing like family-friendly board games and stuff that probably you never heard of that you can go and you can enjoy yourself. The whole idea here is to do something different to make things different. And so, just like our country right now did something different to make things different, we can do the same thing in the tabletop RPG space. If you want things to change, it's only if you want things to change. You think things are okay and it's all great and fine. Do your thing. Continue to do the same thing that you're doing. Just don't complain about it. But for those of you who want things to change, then you need to put principle over popularity. That is what needs to happen. Stop giving your money to these people. Go and create something. Stop getting into these stupid exchanges online. Get off the internet, go and create something and do something better. Create something for your group. You guys discuss it. Well, my group doesn't want to do it. Find another group. Principle over popularity. Explain it to them. And if you explain it to them and they're like, well, I don't want to do that, then be like, okay, let's go to just another game. Maybe not the game that you're suggesting. If they still don't want to do that, maybe you got a bad group. Maybe you need to admit that. Maybe you need to admit, I have a bad group and I just don't want to do this anymore. Again, sometimes you just have to make a decision. So I think that is what needs to happen as well in the tabletop RPG space. That you need to have an indictment and a referendum against those companies that do that kind of thing. Stop giving them money, go create your own thing, and stop being programmed. Stop being programmed. Stop doing that stuff. You're investing in something, you can invest in something else. There are options. You have many options. That dude that was playing Pathfinder talking about what can you do? What do you mean what you can do? You can play Dragonbane, right? You can play Pendragon. There are a whole other, and he's talking about fantasy for crying out loud in the tabletop RPG space, as if you don't have another option. Are you kidding me? See, this is what I'm talking about. Not thinking. You got to start thinking and you got to start doing in order to change. Because you just keep going down the same thing, thinking things are going to change, and then cry, whining, and moaning, complaining about how things aren't changing. The reason for that is you. You're the reason why it's not changing. You keep just following along, and that empowers and emboldens them to continue to do the same thing that they've always done and call you all kinds of names and denigrate you because maybe of your gender or maybe of your skin color or all the rest of this nonsense. Really, let's bring this back to what it's supposed to be about. And what is this supposed to be about? It's very simple, folks. Just play the game. Now, I know there's going to be some people who are going to be upset because of what I've said in this video. And as I said, they're going to unsubscribe. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Go ahead and do your thing. The thing that I do not want, however, is for you to announce that you are unsubscribing. I do not play those petty little infantile games here on my channel. If you do that, I'm just going to delete the comment and you from this channel forever. You will be ejected. And then that'll just be the end of that, because that kind of stuff I don't play. It's grown-ups here. We're doing grown-ups things. So let's not do that. So you've been warned. Now, you might be wondering, okay, yeah, I've been complaining and I've been, whining about stuff and haven't done anything, but where do I start? How do I know about these companies? All right. Years ago, there was a thread that was put up and I found it. I forgot I was doing my own research, and this is how I found it. And so I'm going to put the link down to that in the description below. And it's a list of all these different tabletop RPG companies and, you know, things that they've done, their ideology, their business practices, how they treat their customers. And they do it on so-called level of wokeness. And they put them all in these categories, different categories, and you'll see it once you go down there. That's where you can start. I wouldn't actually let that thing be gospel for you. Use it as a general guide. But the thing that I would do after you kind of get a general idea of things from that list, I would just go and ask them. I would send them, contact them through their website and to their contact page and have a list of questions and ask them, yo, are you into identity politics in your games, in your culture? Is that what you do? Do you denigrate people who disagree with you? Do you have a problem with people, or, you know, do you not want us to buy your game? Ask them directly. This is how you're going to find things out. It's how you'll find things out. Go to their forums as well, because they might say one thing, but when you watch what's going down on their forums or over on their Discord channels, then you know what's up. So there's another way that you can do it. Give your money to the people who are going to support your principles and what you stand for. You know, that guy's talking about, he didn't, you know, what can you do? What do you mean? And he's playing a fantasy game, for crying out loud, in the tabletop RPG space, as if there's not enough. Are you kidding me? Come on, son. That's silliness and ridiculousness. He could have played Dragonbane. He could have played Earth Dawn. Could have played Pendragon. Good grief. I just named 3 and there's like a plethora. That's just ridiculous. That's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. All right. So that is it. If you got any value out of this video, then go ahead and hit that like button to give a brother a little bit of YouTube algorithm love. I love doing that. I don't even know where I got that. I didn't get it from anywhere. It just kind of came up. I don't know. And also, if you would like to stick around, because I got some people who are probably not going to stick around after this video. So if you want to stick around, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I come out with videos once a week, weekly, sometimes twice a week. Just depends. So if you want to do that, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. All right, let's get to the question of the vid. What are some of the difficulties that you have in killing your support for companies that you know are against the principles and values and just how they do business? What is keeping you from cutting the cord? What is the problem? What is the obstacle? If you have that problem. Now, if you don't have that problem, then I want you to share what you did to, like, cut the umbilical cord and just got out of there. Just kind of like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. So give some examples of what you have done to help those who haven't done it, and give them an idea of some of the things that they can do. Now, I gave you a couple of the things that you can do in this video, but I'm sure there's going to be others who have other things that they've done that they can share. And I want you to share all that stuff down in the comments below. I do read them and I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking out for you. Trust me on that. Trust and believe on the Farilla. All right, so that's going to be it for me. That means I got to get out of here. Got to do my snaggle puss.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, you got a game this weekend, y'all. Happy gaming. I pray it's an RPG Elite session that's more immersive, enjoyable, and meaningful. So until next time, go ahead, take a look at this video right here, and God willing, I will catch you on the flip. So peace, 5,000 Leets. I'm gone.